Hello, and thank you for joining me today. This is a learning experience for me. This is Peggy Erkeneff. I'm the Communication Specialist for the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District, and I am adding an audio portion to a PowerPoint and going to attempt, after I finish that, to upload it to YouTube, post it to my blog, and interact with you, and then be able to have your comments. I'm looking forward to our time together. So I want to talk a little bit about being a communication specialist, social media, and communication. There's a quote here, and I want you to just read it. I don't need to reread it for you. But thinking in terms of strategy, mutually beneficial between organizations and their publics. In my job and for nonprofits and for businesses, that is the core for what good public relations and effective communications accomplishes. I also want to give you a brief definition of social media. This is actually a couple of years old, but we are using many platforms now, and everything is changing so rapidly, as I'm sure you know. In fact, some of you listening probably know a lot more about different social media emergent programs than I even do, and have played around in them. But I've really kind of sunk in a little bit deeper with several that I'll be talking about. For me, it's important. When I think about social media for businesses and for personal use, it is really about creating an online virtual community. And I think we can connect and we can make very powerful relationships and connections strictly online. Face-to-face is great. I love face-to-face, and I also know the depth that can happen online. So what in the heck is a KPBSD communication specialist? I get asked that a lot when I say I work in communications. People think I'm in the IT department. Really, my job is pretty fun most of the time. It's also very unpredictable. I never know what's going to happen when I walk in the door in the morning. And social media plays a huge role and an increasing role in what my days are like. These are some of the things, I'm sure you're reading it right now, that I do. And I'm the point person for the school district for any critical communications. I have to be kept informed about a lot of things, everything in the district. In fact, I'm a generalist in the district, and the only other person quite like me is the superintendent, who has to know about all the different departments and everything that's going on. So I track a lot of what's going on, and I put pieces together. It's kind of like a puzzle sometimes, of hearing this that's happening here and this that's happening here, and putting it all together, and then figuring out ways to both celebrate what's happening in our schools, and this would translate across to a business as well. Communicating your mission, communicating what's important to your stakeholders or your publics. I prefer the word publics when I talk about the people that have a vested interest, as well as anybody who is an employee or connected in your organization. So this last summer, I spent some time on a racetrack here in Kenai, Alaska. It's the fastest dirt track in Alaska, and I love taking pictures. So I decided to just kind of hone my photography skills and play around taking these action photos. I'd never been to the races. I'd never watched NASCAR. I thought it was a little bit silly to go around in a circle and keep turning left, which is what happens on the racetrack. But after I spent many, many hours at the racetrack this summer and taking pictures, I was preparing to do some talks for our school administrators about communications and about the reality that we're launching a mobile app, about the changing face of communications in our schools. And I've actually ended up sharing the same talk in several different arenas or venues with different groups of people because it's applicable across the board. But what I think is important is that communications and styles are changing rapidly, and the speed at which information is shared, both accurate and inaccurate, is very, very fast. So where we used to have a lot of time for somebody in a field like me in communications or with social media to respond, we don't. But there's some key tips and pitfalls that I'm going to share with you shortly. Take a look at these statistics. These are informing our future. They inform our current world. What do you think about social media? Are you engaged in social media at all? Think about that. So if we're going to use social media in communications, we need a framework and a vision, and we have to make a decision about where we want to go as a business person. And I'm talking in terms of business and actually personally as well. I think it's really important, and you probably know this, but to know about your digital footprint that you are creating. How many of you have posted a photo or a sentence or something that you've later regretted? You're creating a digital footprint, a track, that's unique to you and your future employers, colleges, your future boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, family members. They will all access those and look at them. And the way that advertisers are accessing our information is amazing. I spent an hour or two in a workshop with Facebook learning about how Facebook is using everything that gets clicked on or posted or liked to fine-tune and hone in with the metrics. That's just it's crazy how it's getting tailored so that what ads come to you, and this is going across all platforms, it's going to be exploding more in the next few years, are tailored to what you are choosing, posting, liking, and doing online. So in communications, it's really important to listen. These are some skills that a communications person needs to have. How easy is it for you to listen? This is my world. This is the world that anyone in communications and public relations now pays attention to. We don't have a choice. So the choice is to respond strategically. I have to always step back and look at the big picture. If I'm going to be talking to media or to the public, I need to be briefed. I need to know my stuff, prepare my talking points, and this is for writing a media or news release as well. I have to be really timely. There is no delay time anymore, and yet accuracy for me is a super high value. So I'm choosing more often now to be as proactive as I can, even if oftentimes I feel like I'm needing to be reactive, particularly in a communications situation where there's stress involved. If there's a bus accident, if there's a school lockdown, those are the kinds of things I deal with. People want answers, and they want answers now that everybody's okay. But the other thing that's really fun in the work that I do is the way my brain works is I get to anticipate what else might transpire. So I'm always going out a little bit ahead of myself, figuring out what I need to be responding to now so people aren't even asking those questions. So focus is really important. At the racetrack, there was different classes of cars, just like there's all different platforms for social media and online presence. The school district uses Facebook, Twitter, our blogs, our website. We actually have a Pinterest account, a LinkedIn account. We're launching our mobile app, and then we have stories that appear in radio, print, and television, and I use those links and share those links. I also am really excited about doing an Instagram account because I think visuals are really important, but there's one of me for the school district, and that hasn't happened yet. This is why communication is critical for a nonprofit, for a school district, for a business. So I'm going to stop for a minute and have you think of if you have any questions, and go ahead and post a comment on the blog since I'm not going to be doing this live.